All right, I have 5 o'clock. Welcome everyone to the regularly scheduled Utility Service Board meeting of Monday, February 14th, 2022. Let's see here. We have a quorum, and let's move ahead with agenda item number 2, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And do we have any questions about the meeting minutes? Okay, Latriana, can you please call the vote?
Sure. White,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Eamon,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Kepler,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have approval of the claims, 4 types. The first, the standard invoices totaling $514,691.62. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions about the claims this time? Amanda?
I just have a quick question on page 1 about the 120 water audit, what we're doing with taking measurements for the COVID-19 data. I'm assuming that's the water data, correct?
From the
Just
sewer.
a random question for you on this. Is this something that is being required of us to do by the state, or is this some sort of an extra measure that we are taking? And if so, on both sides, is there a time frame as to how long we have to do it, or we intend to do it?
I'll take this one. It is a continuation of a program. Last year in 2020, we joined a program that the state paid for. We've continued to do the sampling because the administration requested that we continue to maintain the data set. The board did approve a contract to extend that. We have recently learned, though, that there's going to be a CDC sponsored program we anticipate, and they have invited us to participate. So we expect that maybe as soon as this week, we'll get the first set of sample bottles for that. James may have more to say about that. James?
Yeah, no, you covered it. Yeah, we're expecting to participate in that CDC program. It's called NWSS, and that will be a fully funded program. And we anticipate it. They talked about it in 2 phases. The first phase going to the end of March, and then the second phase for an additional 9 months. So that's what we're looking at so far.
Great. So once we get into that program, we will no longer have to pay for this through this other institution, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Great. Thank you.
And we are happy to share the data that if maybe the next meeting I can bring up some graphs and show you what we've been seeing.
That would be great. Yeah, I'd like to see that, Vic. Other questions about, thanks, Amanda, and other questions about the standard invoices? Okay. Latriana, please call the vote.
Burnham,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Eamon,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Kepler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up, we have utility bills totaling $24,583.54. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. Any questions about the utility bills? Latriana, please call the vote.
Kavler,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Deborah,
yes,
Burnham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is our wire transfers, fees, and payroll for the month of February 2022. These total $510,703.12. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on the wire transfers? Latriana, please call the vote.
Kavler,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Deborah,
yes,
Beeman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Final claims item is our customer refunds totaling $2,264.77. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on the customer refunds? Anyone know anyone who's getting a refund? No, just kidding. Latriana, please call a vote.
White,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kavler,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Deborah.
yes,
Thank you.
So that is the claims. Moving on to item 4, approval of the consent agenda totaling $1,591. Vic Kelson.
Good evening, everyone. Vic Kelson, Department Director. We have one item on the consent agenda. It's Talinco Technologies for $1,591. This is the first amendment to the agreement for technical support of the FOGS, Fats, Oils, and Grease software cloud access. This reduces our not to exceed amount by $1,591 for a new total of $27,586. This is a reduction, I do believe. So this is a negative $1,591. If there's no opposition from any board members, this will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, this item is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Next up, sticking with Vic, we have item 5, request for approval of a memorandum of understanding between the Lake Monroe Water Fund Incorporated and CBU for a financial contribution to watershed projects.
Good evening, everyone. If you might recall, last fall when we went through the 2022 budget process, the board appropriated and the council approved an appropriation of $35,000 to as a contribution to the Lake Monroe Water Fund. These dollars would be used to help that organization as they spin up their own fundraising efforts. So this is a one-time grant for this year from the water fund. So from our water fund to the water fund. It's a little confusing. I'm happy to take any questions.
Hey, Vic, just to remind us, is there a nonprofit board or who administers the Lake Monroe Water Fund?
The Lake Monroe Water Fund actually is an organization, and it has a board that has representation from all of the counties that are in the Lake Monroe watershed and from a wide variety of interests. So it's got forestry interests, farming interests, environmental groups, business interests, the Chamber of Commerce, the BEDC, Monroe County, Brown County, and Jackson County. And in fact, Jackson County recently participated in the management of the gauge that is on the South Fork of Salt Creek. They've recently taken on the job of being the contract holders for that contract with the USGS. So The idea of this is the purpose of the Water Fund Board is to, and the Water Fund itself is to raise money for watershed projects. And they're starting to spin up right now. So the purpose of the grant for this year is to help them start their fundraising program, which will be driven by all those other organizations that they're involved with.
Did you say that the DNR and the U.S. Forest Service are included as well, do you think?
I can check. Hang on.
That's okay. I just,
No, they are involved in the conversations. DNR, Corps of Engineers, Forest Service, and so forth. I don't know if they're formally members of the board. Is that I can confirm that quickly and explain.
no, that's okay. I just, as you look at the watershed, those two organizations control a big part of it. And we want to make sure that they're invited and included.
They are. This is a very broad organization. In a moment, I'll post the website for the Water Fund for anybody on the meeting who would like to see it.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thanks.
And in the MOU, I saw that there would be an annual report and the possibility of a presentation with a summary of activities that benefit CBU and its stakeholders.
Certainly.
Great. Any other questions about this MOU? And do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. LaTriana, please call the vote.
Kepler,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Sherman,
yes,
Burnham,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
And just everyone, I did just post the link for the Lake Monroe Waterfund.org on the chat.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, item 6, request for approval of a memorandum of understanding between City of Bloomington Parks and Rec and CBU regarding operational responsibilities at Miller Showers Park. James Hall, I believe, is presenting.
Yes, thank you. Yes, this is one of 3 MOUs that we'll bring to the board throughout the year here that we were trying to put together with parks. This is the first one. We've been looking at dredging Miller Showers Park. And so we had a discussion with parks about who's responsible for what at Miller Showers and the function of it and all that. And so that got into a broader discussion, and we wanted to create a formal MOU about who had responsibility for what, because that had never been established before. And so that's what this MOU does. We all looked at it and agreed to it and agreed on what was in there, and Parks wrote it up for us. Mr. Wheeler kind of spearheaded that. And so we're bringing that to you. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the board?
Yeah, James, does this, I know there are, when this system was put together out there, it was designed to filter storm drainage from that basin, really, that drains that area, which is a good idea. But I remember there was some significant operating costs in terms of pumps and electricity and things like that. Are we paying for that, or is Parks?
Parks pays for that, and that's kind of what this MOU lines out, all the pumps for the water features. We are basically paying for the basins and to maintain those basins. We recently did a bathymetric study of that, and the first 2 pools are designed to be 6 feet, and the average depth on the first pool is less than a foot, I believe, was the average depth. So it's doing what it was designed to do, but we need to clean it out. And then the third and fourth basin were designed to be wetlands, and they're working as such as well. So it's doing what it was designed to do. But yeah, this is what this MOU lines out, like all those kind of features and that kind of create the appearance. Parks is going to take care of, but the function of those basins, CBU is going to maintain and do any kind of repairs to the walls of those basins if needed.
Very good, thanks.
Gene,
Yes, James, just to clarify, in terms of maintenance of the walls of the basin, I think I read that, like, if there are repairs required to those walls, the cost will be split between CBU and Parks? Is that?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up there. How was it arrived upon that would be split, whereas the other aspects of the park, we had separation? I mean, going back to remembering when CBU footed quite a large part of the bill for this park, and it was a very controversial decision at the time. I'm just wondering how this particular decision was arrived at, and I want to make sure we have firm footing for this.
So part of the discussion was about aesthetics. So anything that was aesthetic to the park, parks would kind of maintain and pay for. But anything that was essential to the function of the basin, CBU to help mitigate stormwater quantity and holding it, CBU would pitch in to help with that portion of it.
Okay, so we're splitting this. Is it decided that this that the walls are both functional and aesthetic?
Well, there's portions of the walls down along the north end of it that are just pure aesthetics. There's some that's not underwater or at the water level that don't do anything particular to make the basin hold water. But
So is that a yes?
yeah. Yes.
Okay. And then just in general, are we, other than this relationship about the walls, which I've never heard before, and I understand now, are we changing anything from our current relationship with Parks and Rec in this MOU, or is it just codifying what's already been in place?
Correct. Yeah, just codifying what we've been doing.
Okay. Good. Okay, do we have a motion for approval?
So moved?
Second,
Latriana, please call the roll.
Deborah,
Yes.
Sherman,
yes,
Burnham,
Yes.
Kremenzer,
yes.
White,
Yes.
Kepler,
Yes,
Heeman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item 7 is request for approval to expense uncollectible accounts receivable. Laura Pettit's presenting.
Hi, good evening. Laura Pettit, Assistant Director of Finance. Every year, as we are closing out our books for the previous fiscal year, we collect or we itemize all of the uncollectible water and wastewater accounts that are under $40 that we would ask the board to write off. These accounts are at least 90 days overdue with an outstanding balance of less than $40, like I said. On the wastewater side, the total value is $11,468.42. That is 1,026 wastewater, stormwater accounts. On the water side, there are 515 uncollectible accounts that are 90 days overdue and less than $40, and the value for that is $7,879.27.
Any questions about the uncollectible accounts receivable? All right, do we have a motion to write these off?
So moved?
Second,
Latriana, please call the roll. Vote.
White,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Sherman,
yes,
Burnham,
Yes.
Deborah,
yes,
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kapler.
yes,
Thank you.
Next up, we have item 7, Laura Pettit continuing on a request to approve to claim unclaimed credit balances. We like this one.
Mhm.
Hello, Laura Pettit again. So this one is for credit balances on accounts that are over 7 years old, and this is for the water utility. The total this year is $38,922.43. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I do have just a quick question. So how are the customers notified when they've had this overpayment that they are owed back? Does it get turned into something like the IN unclaimed or something, or how does that work?
Yes, they would receive a credit on whatever final bill that they have, or if they have an ongoing credit. I guess these would be people who have terminated their service. So we try to send them a final bill or a final balance and let them know that they need to claim this credit. Sometimes people move away or they don't answer their mail. And so after 7 years, we're able to take that amount and credit back the utility.
So it's not like they got a check in the mail that they just never cashed.
Correct.
It's their job to come. Okay, thank you.
Jean, yes.
yes, thank you. Laura, I just wanted a little clarification in our packets, the description of this section. The first paragraph talks about overpayment of sewer fees that remain unclaimed, and there's no dollar amount associated with that. And then in the second paragraph, it talks about the $38,922.43 and seems to be talking about overpayment of water fees. Are there no overpaid sewer fees or?
I apologize. I just pulled out the 38,000 when I looked at this. I'll double check to see if we didn't just leave out a number for the sewer fees, and we can bring that back to the board in 2 weeks when we meet again if there was.
Okay, all right, thanks. I just wanted to check.
I didn't realize it until I started reading the paragraph that there should have been 2 numbers there, because every year there typically is a water and a sewer. We don't normally combine those because the funds are separate fiscally.
Right. But the 38,922, that is specifically water fees.
That's, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, should we then, Laura, try to get a motion for the water portion right now and come, okay, that's what we'll do then. Do I hear a motion for approving the claiming the water unclaimed amount?
So moved.
Second,
Latriana, please call the question or the vote, sorry.
That's okay. Sherman,
yes,
White,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Parmenter,
yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes,
Deborah.
yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Next up, we have old business. Any old business from the board? Old business from staff?
None.
New business from the board? New business from staff?
None.
Do we have any subcommittee reports?
No, not this time.
Okay, do we have a staff report tonight?
Yes, we have one new employee, Brandon Kentrell, is a laborer in T&D. And while we were here, I was actually able to pull together a chart of the data from the
I think you froze up, Vic. But we'll give you a moment. My internet crashed today for about 5 minutes.
It's a Monday.
Doesn't happen as often as it used to. Well,
I'm back, sorry.
Looks like he
sorry.
joined back up. Look, there's 2 Vics now. We have 2 Vics.
Well, one of me disappeared for some reason and I don't know why, but I'm now going to share my screen to show you the data from the COVID sampling. So hang on just a second.
uh-oh.
I do not know why it keeps doing that, so I'm going to try this one more time. There it is. No. Well, for some reason, Zoom is not offering me the data that I wanted to show you. So I'll bring it up. Okay, I give up. For some reason, it's crashing when I try to put up the graph. So I'll bring the graph to the next meeting of the sample data. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thanks for trying.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
No other parts of the staff report?
No other
Okay,
parts.
then I believe we should check to see if we have any messages from Facebook Live. Who's at the controls there? Oh, Jim, please.
Yeah, I have a report. My wife was out walking the dog this morning, and we live in Renwick, which is next to Sycamore Knolls, and she was walking through Sycamore Knolls, and she came across another dog walker, and he had told her about a water break that occurred last Friday, and he said the service was incredible. They came Friday night, they fixed everything, they were great, they talked, he had only really good things to say about CBU and how they handled it. So you can pass that on, Vic, to whoever did it. It was evidently a great job.
I shall. I'll share that with the T&D team.
Thank you, Jim.
This is Holly. There's no comments on Facebook or in the chat.
Okay, any other petitions and communications? Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you, Amanda.
All right,
Everyone
have a great one.
rest of their evening.
Have a great evening.
Everyone.
everyone.